Which is good, which is correct. I blame him too, but I'm going to stitch this to add that having a different president is not going to change America's foreign policy toward Israel. I don't think if you're an American that you can help the people of Gaza with your vote, okay? Since 1917, 1948, 1967, whenever you want to start counting from, America has produced every single Republican and Democratic presidency that it's going to produce, and the policy has always been the same when it came to Israel and Palestine. Zionism is not a political problem, it's a cultural problem. It's not the product of policy, it's the product of colonization, white supremacy, privilege, and power. I don't think it's about getting different people in the positions of power, it's about getting the people who are in the positions of power to do different shit. Keep protesting, keep posting, keep talking about it. If it makes you feel any better, I don't think as Americans we can help Gazans out with our votes. Because Israel-Palestine, that's not a political question. That's not a policy question. It's a culture question. Look, over the last 100 years, America has produced every Democratic and Republican presidency that it can produce, and the policy has never changed. Obama was not on the Palestinian side. Trump was not on the Palestinian side. Right now, Bernie Sanders is not even on the Palestinian side. If Moattaz Aziza or Rashida Tlaib was the president of the United States right now, somehow or another, the policy would still be, we fund Israel. Americans in particular kind of get acculturated to think that voting is like the S tier of civic engagement. Voting, if you were to list like the top 10 things you can do to make the world a better place or to change the world around you, voting is not even in like the top 5, okay? All voting does is decide who's going to be in the positions of power. It doesn't decide what the people in the positions of power are going to do with the power once they have it. Zionism is not the product of some policy or ideology. Zionism is the product of colonization, white supremacy, privilege, and power. That's culture, and culture is not happening at the level of elections. I am just deeply unconvinced that literally everything about the world can be changed just by your personal voting behavior. Doesn't mean don't go vote, do go vote, but it's not like the most important thing that you're going to do. The most important thing people are doing right now is protesting, posting, talking about it, changing the climate and the culture. We're making it politically dangerous for people to be on Israel's side right now. And that is new. I am 39. I've lived through a couple Israeli carpet bombings of Gaza. I have never seen a backlash like this from the public. So vote Trump, vote Biden, write in Mr. Rogers, doesn't matter. The more important thing is write letters, go to protests, post like a crazy motherfucker, make the climate different. And I know that's not a satisfying answer because culture change is very slow and this is like an emergency moment, but that doesn't make me wrong. It just makes it an unpleasant thing to sit with.
I'm not voting for Biden, no matter what. Okay, so what's your plan?
I am absolutely not voting for Biden again, and I can tell you exactly what my plan is. Okay, so we all understand that in the United States, you as an individual do not vote for the president. Your state votes for the president. You can think of it this way. In 2024, there will be only 50 votes cast for president, one for each state. I live in the great state of New York, and in 2024, our vote will be worth 28 points. And here's the thing about that. New York is not a swing state. If you were to walk into a room and try to make an argument that we should think of New York as a swing state, you will be laughed out of the room and you will deserve it. Just a little over 20% of New York registered voters are Republicans. A little over half of all registered voters in New York State are Democrats, and a quarter of them are unaffiliated. New York is not a swing state. Go back to the 2022 election. 5.2 million New Yorkers voted for Joe Biden. Only 3.2 voted for Trump. So if 1.9 million Biden voters from New York had instead stayed at home or voted for a third-party candidate, Trump still would have lost New York. That's a lot of people. 1.9 million is somewhere to the tune of the total population of Idaho and West Virginia. I'm not saying that if 1.9 million New Yorkers stayed at home, I'm saying if 1.9 Biden voters in New York stayed at home, he still would have won, because New York is not a swing state. In fact, New York is so unswingy that the last time it voted for a Republican was way back here in 1984, the year I was born. And in case you didn't know, that election is kind of an anomaly. That's Ronald Reagan's re-election here. And for some reason that I'll never fucking understand, Ronald Reagan was the most winningest presidential candidate of the modern era. This is his first run. This is his second run. So New York got swept up in it. It's an anomaly because New York is not a fucking swing state. 100 years ago we were. 100 years from now we might be. But in 2024, we are not going to be a swing state. And I could win money all fucking day betting on that. So what's my point? My point is I'm not voting for Biden. I'm writing in Rashida Tlaib. Because the Democratic presidential candidate is still going to win New York because New York is not a goddamn swing state. If it's Biden, if he gets primaried, if he keels over tomorrow and Harris is running, the Democrat will still win New York in 2024. But here's what I want. I want everyone in the news the next day, whether or not Biden wins or loses, I want everyone in the news the next day to say, wow, even in deep blue New York State, Biden did worse in 2024 than he did in 2022. Now, I don't think that Joe Biden, if he heard that, he'd say, oh, wow, I should change my tune. That haunted corn husk of a doll, he's going to be dead soon. He doesn't give a shit. No, the more important, more impactful thing is the effect that that will have on the Democratic Party globally overall. Every Democratic politician in the United States, whether they're running for governor of a whole state or the mayor of a small town, if they hear that the Biden style of politics is no longer popular with the base, they will change their tune. Okay, but if you live in New York, why are you stressing about whether or not to vote for Biden? New York is not a swing state. Only 22% of New York voters are even registered Republican. In 2020, Biden beat Trump by 2 million votes. That's a lot of people. That's the population of Nebraska. In fact, the last time New York went red was back in 1984, coincidentally the year I was born. You and I don't get a say in whether or not Biden will win New York. The only thing we get a say in is whether or not it's a strong victory or a weak victory. And I want to see a weak one. If the 2024 election is similar to the 2020 election, it means that 1.9 million New Yorkers could say, I'm not voting for Biden or Trump, and Biden will still win. 1 out of every 3 New York Biden voters can defect, and the guy still will win. And sure, the election is a year away, so if the facts and reality change, I'll change my strategy. But right now, if the election were held today, this is easy. I'll be writing in Rashida Tlaib. This is Nathan Milikowski. He was a celebrity rabbi that was born in Belarus but bounced around Europe a bunch. By the 1920s, him and his family wound up in Poland. And being a high-profile Jewish man living in Poland in the 1920s, he said, this is crazy and I gotta get out. So he packed up his family and he moved to the British colony of Palestine. When Nathan got there, his sons all changed their last name to Netanyahu, which is like a Hebrew form of the name Nathan. And this is Nathan Milikowski's grandson, current Prime Minister of Israel and better funded Bashar Assad, Benjamin. There's another timeline out there, not so distant from our own, where Nathan Milikowski did what so many other Polish people in the 1920s did, left Poland and ended up in Flint, or Columbus, or Buffalo. I've created a visual aid to help you picture it. That's not Benjamin Netanyahu, that's Benny Milikowski, your dad's friend. That's not Benjamin Netanyahu, that's Benny Milikowski, and he's not going to charge you for the bulb or the filter, just the labor. Nathan, my guy, we could have had Benny Milikowski. Instead, we end up with BB the Butcher. We could have had a better world.
So Ireland must step up and refer Israel to the International Criminal Court.
Culturally and politically, I think Ireland is one of the most unique things in the world. They are white, English-speaking Europeans, which means they should be on the top of the global caste system. And in a lot of ways they are. People all over the world are enamored with Irish culture and Irishness. But on the other hand, it's a country that had to deal with real old-school colonialization, occupation, and oppression just up until the 1990s. And I just mean legally and officially up until the 1990s. Politically, that decolonization process is still going on. So I think the Irish are like unique in that they're part of the global West, but kind of part of the global South. If the world was a John Hughes movie, Ireland would be the poor kid that the rich kids think is cool, and they invite him to the parties and stuff, but they just don't understand them. People on TikTok seem to think that the Irish government is like extremely pro-Palestinian. It's not. It's still pretty controversial in their parliament. But the Sinn Féin is willing to say the words out loud. Netanyahu for the Hague. 99.9% of the people who are chanting Free Palestine right now have never been to Palestine, will never go to Palestine, have no connection to Palestine, but we're still invested as fuck. Why? My guess is, and I don't think this is going to blow your mind, but it's just become about way more than Middle East geostrategical politics. I think it's because your reaction to the entire situation has become a sorting mechanism. The Israel-Gaza situation is showing us who are the people in our community who turn to authority to establish truth, and who are the people who turn to truth to establish authority. On my phone, in real time, I am watching a military that has tanks and drones pummel the shit out of hospitals. Israel, the allegedly first world military, has captured less than 20 Hamas planners of the attack and called the 11,000 other people it killed just an oopsie. The self-defense justification was over the morning of October 8th. So now I want to know, do you have what it takes to see how fucked up this is too? No, but I need you to imagine this. I need you to picture this scenario. I need you to picture a native woman, and she comes into work on Monday, and her boss says, Diane, can you come into the office right here? We have to have a talk. And Diane says, oh, geez, Chip, what's going on? And Chip says, Diane, I'm afraid I got to write you up. Oh, gosh, what did I do? Well, we have it right here online. Everybody saw it. Over the weekend, you were posting that you want to see the end of America and the expulsion of all the white people. She says, what are you talking about, Chip? And he takes out his phone. He's like, right there. See, all over Facebook and on Instagram, land back, land back, land back. You want all the land back, Diane? Well, that's the end of America. If you get all the land back, where am I going to go? Where are the rest of the white people going to go? And Diane says, Chip, you dumb fuck. You've never even heard that term before. You don't know what it is. People use it for meaning lots and lots of different stuff. It's an expression of native pride. It's to say, I should not be asking permission to live the way I want to live in the spot, in the land where God had me fucking born. This is not a I want the end of America. It's an expression of emotional truth that I don't think it was a gift to be colonized, and I am not standing down for it. And Chip says, Diane, quit with your fucking woke-ass nerd shit. I'm writing you up. And he does it. He fucking does it to the poor woman, right? And Diane walks out of the office and she's fuming mad, and she tells all of her coworkers that, and instead of her coworkers saying, yeah, that's pretty fucked up, instead, this coworker, whose name is Marsha, this white cow bitch, Marsha, her fucking face looks the way the word hysterectomy sounds. She tweets, Diane's a fucking terrorist. Now take all that and imagine that Diane is an elected motherfucking congresswoman. Me? Even me? Whitey white McWhite man? I can feel in my body how fucked up that is. So fucked. Like, what is this country? Are we still doing America anymore? I feel like we should just give up.
Because Democrats know their base has nowhere else to go.
When people feel like they can fix their problem by voting with their wallet, they'll vote with their wallet. If not, they'll vote with their ballot. If none of that works, they can vote with their feet. But if all of that fails, people are just going to vote with a brick. Democratic Party is playing chicken again. It says, the Democratic Party is playing chicken again. It's saying, we don't need to represent our constituents when it comes to Gaza, because what are they going to do? Vote for a Republican? And of course, there's lots of other options aside from voting just Democrat or just Republican. But why are we already talking about voting strategy? There's still tons of options of things you can do to put pressure on Democrats right now. Shut down their events, accost them when they're out in public. You could corner one on a train and start asking him a bunch of embarrassing questions. To think the whole game is just getting good people elected and then just trusting them to always do the right thing, that's a third grade understanding of how democracy works.